Great to have you with us. Now, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of Ghana, TEU, is demanding the restoration of the dissolved governing council of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, else it will continue to protest. According to the KNUST chapter of TEU, it does not recognize the interim management council constituted by government to oversee the administration of the university in the wake of the unrest on campus. Leader of the group, Charles Arthur, has been addressing hundreds of demonstrators who took to the streets in Kumasi this morning to register their displeasure.
Security for no students.
Our security personnel do not attack students. Our security men respect students, particularly those in the Katanga Hall. None of the allegations leveled against them are true. It was the hallmaster who requested the campus security to protect the students. That was no job too much for them to handle. So if police officials and others decide to take over, then it is problematic. The state security is responsible for all the troubles on campus now. If this matter is not resolved properly, then as workers who elected the government to constitute the council, we will not sit and look on. We will continue to gather here until the council is restored. TEU does not recognize the interim management committee.
The council is restored. Every day, one government and restore. Yes. Council no. 2, you recognize IMC no. Yes. 3, second government and restore. I believe you are meeting with us. I know yes, sir.
Now, meanwhile, the University Council or the National Council for Tertiary Education, NCTE, has asked Vice-Chancellor Professor Kwesi Obridanso to step aside. A letter from the council signed by the Executive Director directs the VC to hand over the day-to-day running of the school or the university to the Pro-Vice-Chancellor. My colleague, Manasseh Azuriawuni, joins me in studio with more. Manasseh, what exactly does this letter say?
Well, this letter is dated October 25th, and it is signed by Professor Muhammad Salif, who is the Executive Secretary. And I am going to state exactly what it says here, that I have been directed to inform you that the Minister of Education, on the authority of His Excellency the President, has dissolved the Governing Council of KNUST and appointed an interim council in its place to, with immediate effect to, 1, assume the powers of the Governing Council, 2, establish the cause of the recent student riots on campus, 3, establish the full extent of cost of damage to property, and 4, resolve the differences between the university management and the student body. The interim council shall operate for a period of 3 months. In addition, I am to bring to your notice a further directive for you to temporarily hand over the day-to-day running administration of the university to the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, who shall act until otherwise advised. This is to make way for the interim council to operate freely without let or hindrance and to conduct unfettered investigations. I am to request your fullest cooperation with this exercise in general and the work of the interim council in particular, counting on your usual cooperation. Yours faithfully, signed, as I stated earlier on, by Professor Muhammad Salifu, who is the Executive Secretary.
So, Manasseh, just to be clear, Professor Salifu says in this letter that he has been directed,
yes,
to ask Professor Obridanso to step aside.
Yes.
Okay. This is the same letter that informs Professor Obridanso that an interim management council has been set up.
Yes.
Okay. But this interim management council has students of KNUST being represented on it.
That I cannot tell.
Okay. It's on the list that Kelvin Saad, the SRC president, is there. So thank you very much, Manasseh, for bringing us those details. He informs us and that government has, through the National Council for Tertiary Education, asked Professor Kwesi Obri-Danso, Vice Chancellor of KNUST, to step aside. The letter says temporarily, as the Pro-VC Professor Rita Dixon acts in his stead. Erastus Asaridonko has been with the demonstrators in Kumasi this morning. He joins us on the line. Erastus, what's the current status of that demonstration?
Well, the demonstration ended about 35 minutes ago. The members started from the commercial area of the KNUST, passed through some streets of the campus and came back to the commercial area. It lasted for just an hour, and they came back, they were addressed, they re-echoed the concerns that they do not recognize the interim management council. They want the old council restored. They want Professor Obri-Boahen retained as Vice Chancellor. Any contrary to any of these will see chaos at the university. Those were the exact words of the leadership of TEU.
Now, Erastus, just to be clear, TEU includes these security personnel who are being accused by the students of brutality. They would fall under TEU.
Exactly, and a majority of the people who gathered there were members of the security.
Okay. Did they present any petition to any authorities?
No, they did not present any petition, but before they embarked on the peaceful march, their leadership addressed them. Early on, some of the security men grabbed the microphone and they were echoing their voices of dissent that they do not agree to what the students were saying. They showed X-ray pictures of some of their members who have also been injured, and so they want government to listen to them because they are also an integral part of the university community. Thank you very much, Erastus Asaridonko, for bringing us those updates. Now, the planned protest by the coalition of unemployed, bonded nurses, midwives and allied health workers, which was scheduled to take place in Accra, it did come off today. Now, it has gathered momentum after disagreements between the group and the police over the destination of the protesters. Now, the protesters, I should say. Now, the group has served notice to march to Jubilee House to present a petition to President Akufo-Addo over their employment status. Now, over 7,000 nurses and midwives from across the country are to join the march. President of the coalition, Daniel Obo, told Joy News' Komla Adom they are bent on submitting their petition to the president as the Jubilee House only.
Our initial plan was to have a peaceful street procession or marching to the Jubilee House to present our petition to the President of the Republic for having delayed our financial clearance after successful completion of school and then training as nurses professionals. Okay. But we have had, before you do that, you need to get access, you need to get permission from the police. We wrote a letter to them as peaceful citizens, harmless people. And we've had series of meetings with them. But our initial plan of meeting or eventually ending our procession at the Jubilee House was denied. For that matter, we and the other venue that was given, we believe that we have had access to all other places, even including the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and we still this enigma still holds. For that matter, we had wanted to go to the president of the land or our father of the country. So
we'll take you back to Komla Adom in a moment. Now, in the meantime, old students and management of Agyeman Senior High School are teaming up to check students' truancy and other social vices on campus. Completion of ongoing construction of the school's fence wall and provision of sanitation facilities and infrastructure, as well as repainting of existing structures, are receiving attention. School authorities, through internally generated funds, are giving a facelift to the school structures to entice students to stay on campus. Headmaster Kweku Amubrinya says internally generated funds and contributions by past students are being used to finance the project. Nana Sensumensa has more in this report.
Agyeman Senior High School has in recent times been in the news for the wrong reasons. Amid infrastructural challenges, truancy and sex scandals have resulted in sanctions against offending teachers. Stakeholders believe securing the school campus and provision of toilet and other facilities will restrict student movement.
that at first the girls' dormitory was not in a good shape, and the place for convenience was also not in a good shape. But now, as they've come and paint the girls' dormitory, and also they've done a 36-seat convenience place for us, we are very happy for that. At first, the girls we didn't like to stay here because it wasn't convenience for us.
Here is headmaster of the school, Kwaku Amo Brenya.
That everybody will agree with me that students are usually attracted to a place about the environment. In fact, if the environment is appealing to the eye, the students are attracted there. So this one is part of the measures that is going to attract a lot of students that will come here. The borders are many. If you take into account the number of students that this school was allotted, we have 1,468 students for the green and the gold track.
Mr. Amo Brenya appeals for support to build fence wall to reduce encroachment.
Of lack of, a fence wall at a certain part of the premises of the school, it is creating a lot of problems there because our students will be running away to time, especially in the night. So the appeal then is that any organization, any NGO, any individual who can help the school. I'm taking the opportunity to appeal to the citizens of this town because Agyeman is their school.
The Old Student Association is mobilizing members to give back to their alma mater. Kwatin Amani Andrews represents the old students.
Complete this. I know Agyeman is an old school, and there are a lot of old students hiding all over the world. And by this medium, appealing to all of us, all old Agyeman students, to come to the aid of the school. Because in Ghana, infrastructure cannot be backed by only the government. Yes. And our school is now populated, a population of about 4,000 plus.
Nana Asensu Mensah reporting.
We'll stay with education in the Ashanti region because students of the Kumasi Technical Institute have apologized to the Ghana Education Service and school authorities for what they admit is bad behavior over an attempted demonstration. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah and GES officials intervened amid security deployment to halt planned rioting. It was in protest of a management decision to have final year students write their examination in the dining hall instead of the classroom. Students Representative Council SRC President Samuel Opoku led a delegation to present the apology letter to Ashanti Regional Director of Education, and Nana Asensu Mensah witnessed the event and report.
In a sudden show of remorse and perhaps patriotism, the students preceded the ceremony with the school's anthem. KTI students who have over the years been noted for violence have hardly been seen in apologetic demeanor. They explained the botched action was wrongly premised on miscommunication between them and the school authorities. Here is SRC President Samuel Opoku.
We are here this afternoon to apologize for what happened yesterday. And this apology letter, we've taken it to the Regional Minister for Ashanti Region and then the Regional Director of Education for Ashanti Region as well. And we have taken it to our principal, Madam Elizabeth, and they have accepted it. And we want to also apologize to the entire nation for what happened. Okay, I read. The part-time level 4 students of Kumasi Technical Institute render an unqualified apology for what happened yesterday. We deeply regret our actions and humbly plead with the Institute to forgive us for whatever we have caused them. And we promise that anyone who is going to misbehave, we are going to give him up for him to be dealt with by the school rules and regulations.
Principal of the school, Elizabeth Andromensah, and the regional SRC coordinator, Raphael Sarkodie, took turns to admonish the students against violence.
That my doors are open. When they don't understand anything or they have any problem, it's better they come to me or meet any of the management for discussion instead of them taking to whatever means that they want. So I've advised them.
Simply would say, see, our philosophy as a council has always been emancipation of students through dialogue and a philosophy of non-violence. What we believe in is that students should use the lay-down channels, lay-down procedure to get their grievances known to authorities. I mean, if they had used the lay-down channels, we wouldn't have even gotten here at all.
Reporting for Joy News, Nana Asensu-Mensah.
You're still watching Joy News today. I am Daniel Daze. We'll take these important messages. When we come back, we'll take you live to that demonstration of unemployed bonded nurses. Thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News today. I am Daniel Daze. Let's take you straight to the demonstration which is being held by the Coalition of Unemployed Bonded Nurses, Midwives and Allied Health Workers. Komla Adum is standing by to bring us the very latest. Now, Komla, I understand there was some controversy about the destination of this demonstration. Have the organizers worked it out with the police? Komla, if you can hear me, I want to find out where exactly the demonstrators are, and if they were able to make it to Jubilee House. Right, we are trying to establish contact with Komla Adum. The story, as we know it, is the Coalition of Unemployed Bonded Midwives, Nurses and Allied Health Workers has this morning embarked on a demonstration. This demonstration is to demand their posting and their employment, and this particular issue has been raging for different year groups of different schools for nursing training across the country. Currently, there are about 7,000 of these young people you are seeing across the streets on your screens. I mean, who are currently unemployed. They are expected to gather in their numbers here in Accra to present a petition to the president. Now, if you were listening to us earlier, you would know that there was some disagreements with security personnel over where they were supposed to march through and where they were supposed to march to. And so we want to find out really from Komla if they have been able to reach an agreement with the security personnel.
Jubilee House, because that place is a heavily security guarded zone. But the nurses also told us that that was the initial agreement to submit their petition to the presidency directly. But it appears there's been some kind of a stalemate. There's been discussions ongoing between the police and the nurses. But as we speak, we've still been standing here for the past 1 hour. Let's now speak to one of the leaders of the nurses groups. I'll speak to Bright Bell. He is the president of the Allied Health Workers. What seems to be the challenge now?
Well, thank you, and then greetings to your cherished viewers and your listeners. The challenge right now is a disagreement that has arisen because of a communication directive from the presidency that has directed the police not to allow a peaceful walk to present a petition to the president today at the Jubilee House. You may recall, as media personnel, that even from the beginning of this year, we've gone on series of negotiation tables with government, Ministry of Health, on our postings and our clearance. But today, nothing has to have come out from government. Several promises and then failures have led to what? Series of demonstrations. And then series of pickets have also happened at the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Finance. But up to now, we've not heard any positive feedback. Although government came out in the beginning of the year to promise that 32,000 health workers have been allocated for. But that 32,000, nothing at all. Not even a single member of us have been posted. Okay. The current one is 145,000. Now we are even scared of the figures because we are still at home.
Okay. Now you've been speaking to the police for the past 1 hour. What is the way forward? What is the agreement so far between you and the police if this demonstration is to go on?
The police said there's a directive from above that is to prevent us from coming to the Jubilee House. So they have given us an alternative route, which is from the Obra Sports to what? The House of Folk Park.
And that is not good enough?
That is not good enough. If you may recall, we have been to the House of Folk Park the Deputy Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Tina Mensah, came to get a petition from us. He has opened his doors for several negotiations, but that has not yielded anything. So when we inform members on the feedback that this is the alternative route that have been given to us, they denied it. They said they will not be going to that place again. And they are in a disagreement with even leadership, telling us, accusing us that why should we even agree to that route? So they are even marching to the Jubilee House on themselves before the police came to stop them at this particular point.
Okay, so now what is the situation now? What are we going to do? What are you going to do right now?
Right now, as leaders, we have tried as much as possible to calm them down. I think for now they are at least calm. The police commander, the regional commander, is still having a feedback from the Jubilee House to get a delegation from us to meet a delegation at Jubilee House so that we will get the issue once again resolved. We have assured our members that at least let us give the government this last opportunity to go to the negotiation table and see what comes out of it. So we have let them know that this is what it's been done, and then these are the arrangements. They are giving the feedback from the Jubilee House to get 6 members from both sides, that is the Allied Health, Bonded Allied Health, and then also for the nursing fraternity, so that we go and then have a negotiation once more at it. We are noble professionals, and then we don't want to take laws into our own hands. We have exhausted all the civic means. It doesn't mean that Parliament is not listening to our plight. Does it mean that they are not listening? Civil society groups are not listening. Our regulatory councils, nursing and midwife council, allied health professional council, are they not listening? Is the president himself not listening? Because even the feedback that came that the president is not in the country, we have given them notice. So as a father, if you have a notice that your children are coming to present a petition, at least they should give us a feedback that he will be traveling, or he will receive us, or he will not receive us, or this is the person that will stand in. Okay. But nothing at all have come out from the presidency. Okay, so
this new arrangement, that a 6-member delegation from your, the 2 sides meets a delegation from Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, is that satisfactory enough?
It is not satisfactory. Because this kind of delegation meeting at the Flagstaff, we have been to the Jubilee House on 2 occasions already, but that has not yielded anything. That has reduced the confidence we have that the negotiation that they are even calling off or planning right now with the 6 members will also not end up yielding anything. Okay. Because we have been promised on several occasions, but for the fact that we are noble professionals and citizens, that are a lot.
Now, away from demonstrations, Member of Parliament for Asante Akyem North is on a collision course with the local assembly for indicting his personal assistant over alleged unilateral reawarding of contract without due process. Andy Apia-Kubi says the assembly erred in suspending Derek Amwa, who is also convener for the Assembly's Finance and Administration Committee, and 4 others. The officers are said to have collaborated with the contractor to illegally withdraw and pocket part of an amount of 45,000 Ghana cedis meant for the Rioso Chips compound. But the MP for the area insists they were not given fair hearing. Oheming Teria has more in this report.
An investigative committee cited Derek Amwa and others for breach of procedure in the award of contracts for Chips compound to the tune of 45,000 Ghana cedis. Though the assembly absolved him of benefiting financially from the deal, members faulted him for conniving with health officials to award a new contract when there was an existing one. They accuse him of exploiting his membership of the tender committee to act contrary to procurement rules. The assembly subsequently barred him from attending 2 general sittings and also stripped him of his convener status because his conduct has the potential to cause financial loss. Mr. Apia-Kubi, however, says due process was not followed by the assembly in arriving at its decision.
We must send a report to their various institutions. They will submit copies of the report to them for their responses. Or the alternative part is the natural justice principle, that you have to give a hearing to all parties, so they need to hear them. And indeed, that is one thing the assembly did not do. When the assembly thought of indicting people like that, they should accept copies of the report and ask them to respond to these queries. Then we can take a decision. You don't have to rush through a report like this.
Mr. Apia-Kubi disagrees to suggestions the matter be referred to police for further investigations. He, however, endorses calls for them to pay the money and action taken against them.
Meanwhile, these monies that have been paid illegally, either they bring them or we sue whoever is a culprit to make the court give a decision whether or not they can keep that money or they can refund it.
Other officials cited for professional misconduct include Assistant Engineer Isaac Hayford, who has been suspended for 1 week. Internal Auditor Enyas Mahmood and his colleague accountant at the District Health Directorate, Mr. Justice Bonya, and one Ajay Berema, a contractor, are said to have collaborated to illegally withdraw and pocket part of an amount of 45,000 Ghana cedis meant for the Yoso Chips compound. They have up to 2 weeks to refund all money. Former MP for the area, Kojoba Agyeman, initiated construction of a chips compound at Yoso in 2014. Though an amount of 115,000 Ghana cedis has been spent, this 5-room semi-detached facility is still not ready after the contractor abandoned the project. Part of the roof has been ripped off and the facility begs for attention. The assembly says an inflated sum of 18,000 was added to the initial 97,000 Ghana cedis cost after a check of 45,000 Ghana cedis was cleared with connivance of some district health officials and the contractor. Residents of Yoso, a farming community with a population of 5,000 people, are worried by the delay. Many lives, they say, have been lost because it takes long to reach healthcare facilities at Nyampanase or Agogo.
We were elated about news of the construction of the chips compound, but the facility is still uncompleted. We urgently need the chips compound. We are compelled to send sick persons to Nyampanase for medical care due to absence of a facility here. The chips compound is our most immediate need.
Unknown to traditional authorities, however, funds meant for the project have been withdrawn and shared by people who are supposed to protect the people's interests. Ofosuhene Asante is assemblyman for Yoso, who commits to early completion of the project, now 80% complete.
Presently, the roof is not good, and funds are not there. So I'm very sure I will keep on pressing the MP so that funds will be available for the completion of the project. Because the work, I can say it is about 85% completed. We are left with about 15% to finish the whole thing. And I'm very sure if the funds are in, everything will be all right.
Mr. Amwa, who represents Pataban electoral area, endorses the MP's position he was treated unfairly by the Assembly, for which he wants to appeal.
The report, even at a point in time, was clear that I was not part of the contractual agreement between the two parties, that's the Assembly and the Health Directorate, and then the perceived contractor and then the previous contractor. So I felt maybe it was just a witch hunting on my person, and then some people had interest in possibly denting my image in this manner.
Until such money lost is retrieved, the Yoso Chips compound will continue to be a limbo while the people suffer. From Yoso, in the Asante Achim North District of the Ashanti region for Joy News, Ohimi Interior reports.
Still watching Joy News today. It's now time for business with Emmanuel Abwajibiafi. Stay with us.